Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Bill Martinez Live, a program about current events, our culture, our values, our politics, and our future. And now, Bill Martinez.
We better stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going.
Hello, America. Great to be with you, as always, on this, the GAB Radio Network, in cooperation with CRN and the SDG Radio Networks. For more information on the show, be sure and check out our website. It is new and improving every day. BillMartinezLive.com. Well, right now, it's time for us to focus on, the things that, are very painful when you look at the abuse and what the government has been doing to us. And we have Congressman Tim Griffin, Republican from Arkansas, the 2nd District there, and he's going to be telling us about Uncle Sam's Unlimited plan. And so hang on to your seats for this. But first of all, for the sake of backdrop, let me explain to you. Tim Griffin was elected the 24th representative of Arkansas's 2nd Congressional District on November the 2nd of 2010. He is the youngest son of a minister and teacher. He is a 5th-generation Arkansan, veteran attorney, and former small business owner who lives in Little Rock with his wife, Elizabeth, and their 2 children. All that to say is that he can relate to our pain. He is exactly what we've been going through, and so he sees it in his eyes, but he also sees it, from our perspective as well. And for the 112th Congress, he is a member of the House Armed Services Committee, the House Committee on Foreign Affairs, the House Committee on the Judiciary, and is an assistant whip for the majority. Congressman Griffin, good to have you on with us.
Thank you so much. Good morning. I appreciate you having me on.
Well, I know that you have been sounding the alarm regarding Uncle Sam's Unlimited plan, and I want you to update and take your time. We got a little bit more time here to break down this abuse that you're bringing to light. What is going on with this Unlimited plan?
Well, here's the deal. About 3 decades or so ago, the Lifeline program established free landlines for folks in their home if they're low income, meet certain requirements, and that's a pretty reasonable idea.
Exactly.
I think there's been maybe a little abuse with that, but generally speaking, it's worked out okay. And certainly we can understand how the elderly who have no way to communicate because they're at poverty level, have no way to communicate with the hospital or whatever, they need some way to call 911, et cetera. That's reasonable. But what happened is a few years ago, someone had the genius idea, and I think it was the FCC, to basically say, well, hey, let's take this landline component of the Lifeline program and let's make it apply to cell phones. Let's give out basically free cell phones. Now, they have a list of programs that if you're eligible for them, then you're eligible for the cell phone, whether it be food stamps or other federal programs. Mm-hmm. So what happened is when this started, it was about tens of millions of dollars, $100 million, and it just kept growing. And now it's upwards of $1 billion with a B.
Wow. So
as I tell people, this is not a program where there's a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse, but it really doesn't amount to much money. That's not this program. This is $1 billion. And the deal is this. It's set up where these companies, private sector companies, contractors, give the phones out. And for every phone that they give out, they get a fee from the federal government. And so it's in their interest to give out as many phones as possible. Now, the way it's supposed to work is if you're low income and need some kind of phone, you can obviously get the landline, but now you can get cell phones. It's supposed to be only one per household, certainly only one per name. But the bottom line is this. These carriers have had there's been no teeth to the enforcement, and so these carriers just give out as many as they can. Some people have 10, some people have 20, some people have 30, And by the way, if you go to facebook.com/REP Tim Griffin, Rep Tim Griffin, you'll see some videos. There's been some great investigations. The Baltimore TV station, Atlanta news station. Anyway, got some videos up there that show you some of the abuse that's going on. So this program has exploded. So there's the abuse within the program, but then I think we've got to ask the broader question, which is it the federal government's role to provide people with cell phones? Mm-hmm. And we were looking at the numbers yesterday, and there's upwards of 50, it's hard to pinpoint exactly, but 50 to 80 million Americans meet the eligibility requirements under the regulation, which I understand giving the very, very low income folks who just can't afford a way to contact emergency services, give them some kind of device that you push the button that calls 911. But exactly. But to buy people, to give people phones so they can have a social life, and it has a camera. Most of these phones have cameras on them, et cetera. Right. It raises the fundamental question of what is the role of the federal government, and should we be giving you and I, paying for this through our cell phone bill or those little tax, should we be doing this? And I don't think we should. I've had people say, well, what about this hypothetical or that hypothetical? And I'm like, well, wouldn't it be great if everybody had jumper cables in the back of their car? Should we buy everybody jumper cables who can't afford them? How about a first aid kit? Should we buy everybody a first aid kit that can't afford them? I mean, at what point have we done as much as can be expected of the federal government? I mean, it seems to never end. So what I decided is there is no way you're going to be able, from what I've seen, you're going to be able to really rein this in the way it ought to be. So I proposed legislation to just turn the law back to the way it was, landlines only. Landlines only. And we can look at eligibility and make sure that's targeting the right people. But my bill that I introduced, the Stop Cell Phones Act of 2011, taxpayer-funded cell phones, that would just roll it back to landlines only. So that's sort of in a nutshell where we are on this thing.
Well, Congressman, what I see is that, again, going to the broader picture, is not only is government expected to do it, provide it, or we the people are expected to provide it, which you can question, but secondly, is the government capable, and they're demonstrating once again that they're not capable of managing a project of this nature?
Well, here's the deal. I think that the FCC, we've heard in recent days the FCC tell us and others, well, we're working on some reforms and what have you. In the meantime, we're paying for this. I don't have a lot of confidence in folks at the regulatory agencies to get this worked out. The fact that they couldn't see this coming in the first place is mind-boggling. Exactly. And so we're going to just continue full speed ahead with this legislation. And just to give a little more specifics on the paying for this, a lot of times you look at your cable bill and you look at your phone bill and you think to yourself, why are there all these pages of fees?
Exactly.
And, it's like, couldn't it just be one line, like here's how much it cost? But one of the fees that you'll see on your cell phone bill is the Universal Service Fund, or the Universal Service Fee, and that is the line item of the tax that you pay on your cell phone bill to fund this.
Exactly. Well, Congressman Tim Griffin has been our guest, and we're talking about Uncle Sam's Unlimited Plan. Be sure and check out Facebook.com/Rep Tim Griffin and get more details. Thank you, Congressman, for being with us. This is Bill Martinez Live, 15 minutes after the top of the hour, America.